Hi guys, so I'm recording this after our class on Friday in week 2. The reason I'm recording this is one student, actually two students, asked if I can record our lecture. One student asked me before we started, and the computer I was using had no features for me to record. And the other student meet me at the end of class and ask if I can record because he had issues with his computer. So I'm going to record what we went through today. I'm going to take advantage of this to discuss the nature of our assignments. So last week was our first week and we had classwork assignment, which was already posted. That is gone. My concern is with week 2. You can see we have done a number of things we did a number of things on Tuesday and today as well, plus the recorded lectures. Probably they can confuse some of you. So what we're going to do is the following, and I really want you guys to listen and follow. So when we met on Tuesday, we did a little bit of our classwork. But we didn't go far because it was the first time for us to work on Excel, and many people had questions, and that was wonderful. That was good. So we didn't finish what we were supposed to do on Tuesday. And I asked you to submit what we completed in class. However, I told you that I was going to record a couple lectures to fulfill what was supposed to be done on Tuesday. So we have 2 videos posted, and I asked you to follow the steps. And so I know some of you have already completed, and some will complete over the weekend. And I allowed you to do so over the weekend. So after you have gone through the videos, then you'll be able to complete what we were supposed to complete on Tuesday, because we don't want to stay behind. Behind the schedule. And therefore, when you complete, that should be what you can submit. But also, today we completed what we were supposed to do today on Friday. So I want you to finish everything, meaning that you have what we did on Tuesday, then you're watching videos to complete what we're supposed to do on Tuesday, plus what we did today. And then you can submit anytime from now to Monday before we meet for the next class. Also, I asked you to submit only one Excel file. Let me open my Excel file here. So we have something that we did in week 1. We learned we learned a little bit about Excel, and we worked on some example which we created in class, and I asked you to submit on the first week. Then I asked you to keep on adding worksheets in the same Excel file. So we are going to have different types of data, and I ask you to copy the data into your Excel file. So you will open different worksheets and copy the data from the new data and add it to your Excel file. So you don't have to have separate Excel files. So for instance, we worked on the soft drink on Tuesday, plus the videos that I posted. So, and I asked you to copy this data and paste in your Excel file. So you keep on working in the same Excel file. Also, you're supposed to copy the audit data and paste it in your Excel file. So you're going to open the new worksheet and add the data, which is posted. So you keep doing the same all through. But today I asked you to open another worksheet, and I ask you to rename it as average. Just leave it as average. But in fact, we did more than the average. So the data that we had were 46, 46, 46, 42, 32, and 54. That's the data which I asked you to copy and paste or to generate in your Excel file. So you call it average. Now, we started looking for average, and we did it manually. And to be able to do it manually, we know that average, or the formula for average, is you add all the values and you divide by the total, or by their total. So we have all these values, we need to add them. So we're going to do sum, and equal sign, type sum. So we're going to sum it, and select all the values, close the bracket, and enter. So you can see we have added all the values. But also we need to find the total of the values which we have. And so we're going to count. So just put equal sign and then count. Select count, and then so we're going to count those values. Don't count the sum, and close the bracket and enter. So we have those two outcomes. And so the next thing we can do is we can find average. We can find average here by just putting equal sign. Sorry, what's going on? So just put equal sign, take sum of those values, divide by their total, which is the count, and you get 44. So that's the average. But also we did average using Excel function. So to use Excel function, just put equal sign, type average, AVE. You can select now the average. Don't look for average deviation or anything, but we are looking for the average. So now you can select the values. Just the values, close the bracket and enter. So you can see we get the same average. So we can find average manually, and also we can use Excel to find the average. The next thing that we did was median. And median, we know, is the middle value. To find median, we need to organize the data. So we copied our values and we pasted somewhere. So let me copy the values, draw copy, and then we pasted our values somewhere. Now, to find median, we have to organize the data. And that's the advantage. We had to know how to sort our data. So we sorted data from smallest to the largest, or largest to the smallest. But also we could use custom sort. And that's why we added some values, serial numbers, so that we know that we have number, and we had data. So we can sort our data, and I ask you to use custom sort, and now you are asked to expand the selection. So we can allow Excel to expand to this column as well. So I'm going to say sort, and we'll sort by, not by the serial number, but by data. So click on the data. You can sort from the largest to the smallest or smallest to the largest, and that's what I'm going to do. So sort, and you can see now number 4 is actually the first, followed by number 3, 1, 2, and 5. So after we have sorted our data, it's easier to find a median, because median will be the middle value. So we have 32 and 42, and then 54 and 46. So our median actually is this value here. We just picked it up because it's the middle value. Now we added more. We worked on the data. Control copy and control paste. So we added, let me add number 6, and that should be, let's say 54. And so 54. Now we have we have even numbers. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So to find median, we cannot just pick up this value, because we have 2 on the top and 3 below. So we have 1, 2, and then 1, 2, and in the middle will be 46 and 46, those 2 values. So to find the median, we have to find the average of these 2 values. So here, average. So average of the 2 values. That means we'll take 46 plus 46 divided by their total, which is 2. Let me close the bracket here. Or we can use Excel function to find the average. So I'm going to put equal sign and type average. And that's the average of these 2 middle values. So I will select them, close the bracket, and enter. So the average is 46. I'm sorry, the median is 46. If we had different value here, like let's say 46 and another value, then we could take those 2 values and find average. It could be something different, but the average of, you take 46 plus 46 divided by 2, that will be definitely 46. So that's the median. But we went back here and find median by using Excel function. So median Excel function. Just put equal sign. You don't have to reorganize your data. Just leave it as it is and find median. And select all the values, close the bracket, and enter. You can get 46, which is actually the median here. And also, if you look for the median here, it will also be 46. Let's try that. Put equal sign, type median. Select all the values. Close the bracket. It will also be 46. So the next item is mode. So we find mode. And in this case, we know that mode is the number that occurs most. So we put equal sign, type mode, and we can select mode and find the value that occurs most. So 46 is the one that occurs more than other value or values. So we try to find mode where we have 2 values that occurred most, 46 and 54. So let's try to find mode here. In this case, we'll write mode. Let's just go with mode. Select all the values, close the bracket and enter. You can see only one mode is selected. But that's not true. We have more than that. So instead of looking for mode, we can find marked mode. Meaning that we may have more than one mode. And so what we can do here is we just click and select several cells to see if we can have mode, more than one mode. Just put equal sign and type mode and select mode. Then select all the values, not the median though. Close the bracket and enter. You can see that, got it. So you can see we have the two modes are selected. The two modes are selected. I was told that that approach was for the previous version of Windows. The new window, you don't need to highlight the cells, so that's okay. But we have two values which are also they give us mode, the 46 and 54. So all these are measures of location. They are average, median, and mode. So let's look at measures of variation. Measures of variation includes, let me go down here, range, range, variance, and standard deviation. So in order to get a range, we need to have maximum value or the largest value in the distribution and minimum value in the distribution. So let's find the maximum and minimum values. So just put equal sign, type max, and select all the values, close the bracket. The maximum value is 54. How about the minimum value? Just put equal sign, type min, select all the values, close the bracket. The minimum is 32. So now we can find range, because range is maximum minus minimum. So put equal sign, click on the maximum value minus the minimum value. So range is 22. We are looking at the range between the highest and the lowest. But also we need to find variance. Variance means we look at the variation of the values from the average. So we didn't do this in class, but I'm going to do it separately somewhere, and then we'll come back to what we did in class. So let me select the data that we have, control copy, and I'm going to paste it here. So we need to find, sorry about that, let me do something different. So I'm going to select data plus average. So copy, and I'm going to paste the data here. So we want to find variance. So variance is we're going to see how each value varies from the mean, and we will find the sum of the variation of values from the mean. So here, let's see the deviation. The deviation of values from the mean. So we're going to start with 46. How far is it from the average? So I'll put equal sign, click on the 46 minus the average. And I'll do the same for 46, 42, 32, and 54. Okay, so by doing so, then I'll need to lock down this H24. So I'm going to click here. Sorry. So I'm going to click here and add the dollar signs. I'm going to click on F4, but no, I'm going to type the dollar sign around 8. Not the 24, but around 8. So we have locked this and enter. So that means each value will minus the average, which is 44. H24, yeah. So let me double click. I'll remove this. I'll remove this because that makes sense, and also remove this. So you can see these are the variation of values from the average, from the mean. So the first value is greater than average by 2. The second one also 2. The other one is less than the average by 2. 32 is less than the average by 12. And 54 differs from 44 by 10. However, statistically or mathematically, we can see that we took 42 minus 44. It should be 2. Actually, it's not supposed to be minus because we are trying to find the difference. And let me show you what will happen. If we find summation of the deviation, it will be 0. If you put equal sign and sum the variation of values from the mean, the answer will be 0. Why? Because we have these negative values. So how do we solve this problem? We could find absolute value. We could make all these positive. So let me write absolute value, ABS. And this is another function which you're going to learn today. To find absolute value, it means you can put equal sign, type ABS, make that value absolute, meaning that if it's negative, it should be positive. So I'm going to click on the 2, close the bracket, and enter. And then I will grab this all the way down to 54. Sorry. So you can see that all values now are absolute. They are not, we don't have negative values. But in this case, we are not going to use absolute values. We're going to square all these values. So let me remove this, but you have learned how to make absolute values. So let me remove it. Sorry. This new computer for me is giving me a time. So let me remove those values. So all we're going to do is to square all these values and they will be positive. If you square negative value, that value will be positive. So squared deviation. we will square all the deviations. So that means we're going to square 2, 2, 2, minus 2, minus 12, and 10. So how do we do that? We're going to put equal sign, click on this value, and on top of number 6, you will see this sign. That is to the power of. So you can see it on your computer. We have to the power of. And I'm going to write 2. So that is squared. And enter. So 2 squared is 4. Now I'm going to copy this all the way to 54. So you can see that 10 squared is 100. 12 squared is 144. Now all our values are now positive. And so we can find the sum of the squared deviation. So I'm going to put equal sign and write sum of the squared deviations. Let's find it. Close the bracket and enter. So that is the sum of the squared deviations. So to find variance, let me go here, variance. The manual formula for variance is you are going to find the deviation of each value from the average, make them squared, and then find the sum of them. So since our data is small, then we'll take squared deviation divided by 2. So I'll put equal sign and take this squared deviation, sum of the squared deviation divided by 2. We will divide by n minus 1. It is actually n minus 1, the size of the data minus 1. That gives us what we call degrees of freedom. So divided by 2 minus 1 is 1. So if you enter, there will be 256. Let me repeat again. To find variance of the small data, you will take the sum of squared deviation divided by n minus 1. N is the size of your values. So our n here, our n is 5, Remember here we have n, the count. Where's the n? The count is 5. I made a mistake and I apologize. So let me remove it. So variance is the sum of squared deviation divided by the sample size minus 1. We take the sample size minus 1 because we want to find what we call degrees of freedom. I will later explain what does it mean by the degrees of freedom. So I will click here, divide by 5 minus 1, which is 4. Enter. So our variance is 64. Let's try to find variance by using Excel function and see if the answer will be the same. Variance Excel function. So just put equal sign, type AV, and here is the, sorry, not AV, it is VAR. Put equal sign, VAR. So we have VAR here. Now select all your values and close the bracket. And let's enter to see if we get 64. Enter. It is actually 64. So you can find variance manually by doing this. And all I did is just to follow the formula, which says it is the summation of deviation of the values from the mean, and then you square them, and so you find squared deviation. You find squared deviation, and you have the sum of the squared deviation divided by the sample size, which is 5 minus 1. So it's 64. Now, what is standard deviation? Or how can we find standard deviation? Standard deviation, the variance of a sample is written as S squared. So it's written as S squared. That is variance of a sample. Variance of a population, when we have big data, it is sigma squared. So standard deviation is the square root of the variance. So if we can find the square root of 64, so let me write here SQRT of VAR. Standard deviation is the square root of the variance. So let me find the square root of the variance, and we're going to learn another function. Just put equal sign, type SQRT, that's the square root of variance. Click on variance, close the bracket, and enter. So that gives us standard deviation. So let's find standard deviation by using Excel function. So just put equal sign, type STD. So we have standard deviation of population, standard deviation of a sample. But for now, I want you to just select standard deviation, click on it, and select the values in a distribution and enter. So let's enter. It is actually 8, and that's what we get here. So this section we did it manually, but here we used Excel function. Standard deviation is a good measure because it helps us to find risk. If values vary a lot from the mean, then it means that there is a risk. But if standard deviation is small, meaning that values don't vary a lot from the mean, then we can say that we don't have too much risk. Risk is minimized. We'll discuss that in the next class, but this is what we actually completed in class, and I'm going to stop there for now.